and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to go over the January 6th insurrection and my opinions and views on what's going on here. Okay? Number one, I saw it coming when he got elected. I wish my Twitter account that I was arguing with some Trump supporters the night he got elected, and I was saying, yeah, as long as he relinquishes power without any problems. I literally said that to somebody, and this guy's like, oh, we're not, why are you worried about that now? And I'm like, yeah, why am I worried about that now? Well, gee, okay. So I'm not a Russiagator, but I am a reality person, and here's reality. Trump had 6 meetings with Putin where we don't have any records, right? Which is unprecedented, right? No president has little secret conversations with foreign leaders that isn't recorded by our own people, okay? So that happened 6 times, all right? Now, this guy, let me just say this, right? If he was anything other than a fraud, he would have been at the head of that freaking mob, and he would have walked in there, and he would have ordered the police out of the way, and he would have freaking just done some like serious thuggish, which is what those people wanted. They wanted this thuggish takeover. Now, a lot of them were duped by the lies, and they're totally incapable of deciphering lies. Now, people of my intelligence level, when Trump opens his mouth, we cringe. Like nothing intelligent comes out of that man's mouth ever, okay? He is a 2-bit actor, rich kid, bankrupter of business, scam artist, lion, sack of weak genetic traits, all right? There's nothing redeemable about that guy, okay? And his cult following, the bewildered herd, okay? They're the victims of the crew that's been trying to fascistly coup this country since the 30s, okay? Schmedley Butler wrote a book about these people, the Prescott Bush. And if you don't think that that whole insurrection was lineage of that, you're severely undereducated on the subject. So I would suggest, and I'll leave the link in the description below, the Empire Files did it was an inside job, okay? It was a failed because these people are retards. They're low IQ troglodyte thugs that think they can just bully their way into power, okay? Because they got some fools with guns behind them, okay? Now this is why we don't have warp space flight currently, is because of people like the insurrectionists, okay? With their guns, their low IQs, and their understanding of the world through thousands of year old mysticistic BS, okay? They want to run the show with their low IQs and their guns, okay? Well, fortunately, that got stopped. But all those people are still there, still in their same headspace. Like they think they know something. They think they're in on something. They think all those lies are reality. Why do they think that? Well, I'm going to tell you is because of little spicks of reality. For instance, 2016. Everybody saw how the Democrats were able to scam Bernie out of his rightful place as the winner of the primaries, okay? Everybody saw that. We all saw the voting machines changing the names. People had recorded and posted it. We saw the shenanigans with the Democratic Party and the votes. There was lawsuits that were won. This was reality. The Democrat, now let me explain this for the bewildered herd, okay? How our political system works. the Democrats take care of the Democratic primaries. There's nobody watching the Democrats during the Democratic primaries. They can do whatever they want, okay? As well as the Republicans. But then during the national vote, we have both Republicans and Democrats everywhere, paying attention to everything, both parties. And this is what the bewildered herd doesn't really understand, because civics was dumped in the Reagan area. So we don't have a population of well-educated on how our political system works people in this country. We have a bewildered herd, huge swaths of people that are just confused, that can listen to an idiot lie to them for years, never realizing that the person speaking to them is a complete idiot and a liar. Okay, and for me, it was real easy. I caught the guy in lies so many times. It's just simple. You just have to listen to what he says, okay? So moving forwards, you've got all these people that literally witnessed the Democratic Party scam Bernie. So they just figure that the Democratic Party has like some power. Like, oh, they run the voting machines with the socialists and all, just the crazy shit that just is completely impossible, okay? Now, these people said all these lies. They took it into court. I think they won one case about something to do with addresses, or, I mean, just insignificant. Out of 61 cases, they won one. So they lost 60 cases. These were judges, in some cases, appointed by Trump, okay? So if the bewildered herd wants to think that it's some kind of ploy or whatever, then why did his own judges find against him time after time in these huge lawsuits, defamation from the voting machine companies, right? Now, these voting machine companies most definitely can be freaking hacked and scammed. We've seen it a million times, okay? Now, were they? No. Were they for the Democrats? Yes, okay? How does that work? Well, there's no Republicans standing there saying, you can't do that, you know, and there's no Democrats standing there in the Republicans saying, you can't do that. So the Democrats are free to do whatever they want. And there is the lawsuits won that prove they scammed Bernie. It's all proven. Okay, so this is that kernel of truth that the bewildered herd takes then into this whole main election and goes, you know, completely mad with it, right? Oh, the Democrats are able to do all blah, blah, blah. No, they're not able to scam during the main election. They're only able to scam during the primaries. And it's that simple. So we have Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, people, they learn a little something in life, you know, they become a master of something, right? They're like a welder, right? And they learn all kinds of welding, and they're really good at welding. So in their mind, they're a really smart person. Their IQ may be, you know, average, little up, little down, maybe. But overall, their intelligence level isn't capable of discerning highly intelligent speech versus like basically retarded speech. And you know, a lot of this comes from the religion, right? You got a lot of people that just believe in fantasies, just complete fantasy world. They live in a fantasy world, right? So then here comes this other fantasy world, and they can just live in that one at the same time. It's just easy. You know, they're already, you know, Christian fascists, and then here comes this Q-tard, and then, oh yeah, like, oh, that's totally it, you know, and all the bullshit that comes out of that, right? And unfortunately, the connecting thing here is low IQ. And this is why I believe that this whole insurrection was lineage from the same crew that tried to do it. Prescott Bush tried to do it back in the 30s with the whole crew, right? Okay, you can Schmedley Butler's book, War is a Racket, outlines the whole thing for you. All right, So then moving forwards, they killed Kennedy. All right? Now, after Kennedy, they got Nixon in there, and Nixon took us off the gold standard. Okay? And these are things eroding democracy. Okay? Like, we had voted in a president in Kennedy that says war's a racket, right? Watch out for the deep state, CIA, blah, 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 blah. And they killed him. You think they just walked away at that point? No. They have had total control. The fascist coups have been slowly pulling the strings over the years. Now, it's obviously not the same group of individuals because the original coups are dead and then they had their children. Now, you look at the Bush family, right? The Prescott Bush, the original one, and then Bush Sr., right? He was still this rich kid that got everything handed to him, right? And so he's a little bit lower than his dad, right? Intellectually speaking. Then you look at his children, intellectually speaking, even lower down on the totem pole, okay? So they're not only dumbing down the country, they're dumbing down their own people. So that's why it didn't work on January 6th, because they're morons. They're just simply too stupid as a collective to accomplish this. And the first thing these fascist morons are going to need to do is come to the intelligent people, which typically are liberal-minded, and find out how to run things. So, and we see this just time and time again, right? These fascists never last because they don't know how technology works. All they understand is this. Like, oh, I'm a thug and I got a gun. Okay, good. Shut the fuck up. We could be having warped space flight, going back and forth to Mars in like a minute, but the religious kooks burned down the library at Alexandria, taking us down a trajectory. So these same religious kooks are the same religious kooks that walked into the all the government buildings on January 6th, okay? It's all this lineage of people living in a fantasy land. We need to have a giant operation worldwide to just break religion out of people's heads. Not by putting them in a cell and beating them, by education. Because it's typically the idiots in the society that believe in the fantasy land BS, okay? And no, idiots that happen to be watching this video, you're not gonna rule me. You're not gonna tell me I've got to behave by your fucking biblical laws or any of your laws. Okay? No, and no. It's time for the scientists to design and run how things go. Because lawyers, which are lineage of religion, which is lineage of power and control, and idiots that don't know anything about anything, they just want to tell people what to do, getting in control, getting in charge, okay? And then just coming up with the most ridiculous, let's fucking walk around in robes and do some shit all day and fucking think we're doing something. No, every single person in every single freaking religious, all the religions, okay? All religions share one thing in common. Millions of fool followers, okay? So, once we can get these idiots woken up and stop having them, I mean, all they want to do is kill everybody that doesn't believe the same way they do, okay? So, this insurrectionist was driven by religious fanatics, fascists, and just downright morons. And that's the bottom line. But they got their shredded truth, and I warned in a previous video, I said, if you cheat Bernie again, Democrats, you might get tortured to death. I literally made a video about that, and that literally almost happened. If these fascists weren't such retards, Democrats, you'd be tortured to death already. They would have got you on January 6th. You would have been done. You cheated Bernie and you almost got tortured. I called it. How do I keep calling these things? How do I know what's coming? How do I understand this? How do I argue with the guy the night this guy gets fucking elected saying that I don't think he's going to want to leave power? How does that even happen? Do I maybe have some insight? Or can I just see the writing on the wall because I'm smart enough? Like, that's it. The bottom line is, smart people hear Trump open his mouth and they cringe. Like, he just doesn't say anything intelligent. It's like, shut the fuck up, okay? And this is just reality, right? And you're never gonna, Dunning-Kruger effect is a serious problem. We have people that are so below level IQ, below average IQ, so many people that are just so fucking, like 80 million people voted for that idiot. I mean, they literally voted for an idiot. Now, I'm not saying Biden's like, no, I'm not saying, the guy's an idiot, he's a fascist, and he's a con man, okay? If he was a badass, he would have been at the front of that line. We're gonna go down there, and he would have just taken over, and all these thugs would have been running amok, and all the people that were inside the military and inside the police that were in on it, that were inside job, they would all seize power. But he's a fucking clown. He's a fucking joke. He's a pathetic fucking loser that's bankrupt fucking 6 times, and he just bankrupt the fucking country, okay? So it's just time for the low IQ troglodytes to understand, like, look, have a great life, you fucking idiots. Just don't think you're gonna get a run shit. Peace.